Hi, this is D Ocean's Deep Woo. Yes, it has been a name change. It was formerly D Swagger, D Ocean Swagger, but I'm still Swiggy at heart. Yet, I think Deep Woo. I am attempting to make a nice um, association in your mind about what I do so that there is no question about it. Okay. Uh, I do deep woo. That's what I do. Oh, yes. Dr. Seuss would be proud of me at this moment, right? We do deep woo. Come on. We do the woo. The woo. We do the woo. Okay. Hey, I don't know. I might write that. Anyway, okay. I have a tendency to be kind of funny, but looks aren't everything. But I take a humorous approach or a lighthearted approach, and I really feel like we need to make light of a lot of things because honestly, a lot of heavy stuff is going on right now. And if we don't laugh about it, then what? So um, I think I think we need to be more lighthearted. I don't want to get political in this one, but I do want to say I believe that this is the year that we're going to see a lot of positive change. So you can say what you want. It looks very scary, and it probably will, but we're going to see a lot of changes, and some of them are going to be quite positive, and some of them are going to be kind of scary. So buckle up. Okay, this is a really cool looking deck. I got a sale on it, or I probably wouldn't have bought it because I've never read it and I wasn't really uh, exactly drawn to it for the sake of reading it. The thing about it is, and I want to say, this is a very important concept because I was on the psychic fair circuit for a long time and I've been around a lot of readers. And the title, Are You a Card Reader or a Book Reader? This is what it means. See, I thought I would explain this while I was showing you these cards, but now I realize they are very, very hard to see. And I don't know if I would be able to read these. Hey, Pam, happy Friday to you too. Hi there. Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to get used to reading these. They're very distracting. Um, so I don't know if this is really my deck to read, but what I mean when I say, are you a card reader or a book reader? Are you really reading the cards? Being around a lot of psychics who read cards, I tell you, there is a different level of respect for people who read cards as opposed to who read the book. And what I mean by that is usually these come with some little booklet or maybe some big booklet. I mean, some of my card decks come with a full-fledged paperback or hardcover book. And those are very informative and help a lot. And some cards come with little uh, sayings on the bottom that give you some idea what the card's about, which is also helpful too. But if a deck doesn't really speak to you, if you can't look at a deck, okay, I'm going to explain what the difference is. If you look at a deck and then you go to your little book and look it up, that's a book reader. I'm sorry, you're really reading the book, which is okay. And it'll still work most of the time. You'll still get a reading and it'll still be meaningful. And, so really there's nothing really wrong with practicing that way at first. But among card readers, this is considered to be a crutch. As a matter of fact, cards themselves are often, by those who are more advanced, to be a kind of a crutch, a kickstart to whatever it is you're trying to find out, or also called a focus. But if you can't read without a deck, or if you can't read without that book, it's on a different level. So that it is the psychic reader that can read without anything, except their third eye open. Then there are some people who can read from pictures, and this does not really have to do. When I say book reader, this doesn't have to do with bibliomancy, which is a whole different thing. But that involves books. That's a type of divination involving books. But what I mean is, can you look, how you can tell? Can you look at this card and does it mean something to you? Just from looking at it. I mean, if you didn't have a book with this, and this one doesn't come with a book. This one doesn't come with a cheat book. That's what professional readers often call those books, is cheat books. Well, maybe not often, but some of them sure do. Let's put it this way. There is a certain amount of snobbiness in that community, just like in any community, as to different ways of doing things. It's not really much different from anything else. But if you are at a psychic fair and you're just pulling out your little book every 5 seconds to read, people are gonna kind of laugh at you behind your back. I'm sorry. Most of the time, no matter how nice they will be to your face, they will kind of be, yeah, all right. So you want to get to a point, at least, where you can look at cards. And the interesting thing is, it is symbolism. The cards are symbolism, and they can end up meaning something to you very different than it's said in the book. If they are talking to you, if you look at a card and in a deck and it's like telling you a story, that is how you do your reading, because it's giving you information, and it is almost as though they're speaking. Some people actually hear it as though they are speaking. I've run into that. Some people just see the imagery and the symbolism and it means something to them. Something hops out, like they'll say, oh, well, her crown is really hopping out. You must be ready to achieve an honor of some sort. You must be getting an honor of some sort, or feel very royal, something like that. Whereas they look at the card and go through the book and go, oh, well, it means thus and so. So it helps a little bit to know numerology, because the cards have a numerology to them. Now, I'm surprised in this one. In this one, usually the first card, the very first card. Now, this is the Witch's Tarot, not the Rider-Waite Tarot. That's another thing. Different tarot decks are very different. And I mean, yeah, that should be obvious, right? But I mean, they do things differently. They see things differently. Let me see. Okay, somehow the Fool ended up over here. I see. That was probably the one that was sticking in the deck, because I was going to say, the first card is actually not a 1, it's a 0, and it's the Fool. Why? It makes sense, doesn't it? The fool represents a person or a situation in which you know nothing. You don't know anything. You're just trusting and you're getting ready to step out. And quite often, they have him on the edge of a cliff. Sometimes the little dog is with him. And he's just getting ready to step out and he's just trusting that, he's going to not just fall to his death, basically. Um, and a lot of times you have to do that to You have to just trust. Now, we don't know. Maybe there's a little ledge right underneath him. So he's not worried, but we can't tell. We can't see it. But you see, he's got his little staff and everything with him, and he's ready for a journey. Yeah. He's already on the heights, but he's ready to go take a journey. So that's the kind of thing I'm saying. You got to look at the imagery. And it's like if you were doing a dream. So numerologically, he's 0. There's his dog. I just saw it. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure this is going to be my deck. His little doggy is right down here. I thought it was a rock. These are kind of hard to see. I don't know if I'll be able to read these really effectively. I'd have to get used to them. Of course, the magician. What does that mean to you? And maybe what it means to you is something different than it says in the booklet. And maybe the magician is a trustworthy person that you feel he's. But remember, a magician is usually using sleight of hand and doing things to trick you as well. Or is he really doing magic and, and commanding the elements and so on? Well, that depends. How do you feel about this card? Is he on the up and up or not? Is he doing real magic, or is he just an illusionist? And this is part of what this card is about. Okay, he is number 1. There you are. Okay, and who is the next one to come along? Here we go, the High Priestess. And hi, Richard, how you doing? And the High Priestess is a really important card if you're seeking a path, right? If you're on a path seeking. She is the knowledgeable woman. So you've got the magical man and the spiritual woman. And they come first. But next, you have more of a physical plane thing with the Empress. And she's the one with all the stars in her crown. And she has both temporal and physical, temporal and also spiritual abilities, but she mostly represents the divine feminine, the feminine principle, and the emperor, ladies first in this case, right? The emperor, the male principle. So, sort of a left brain, right brain sort of thing, okay? She also can represent, because she's usually shown pregnant, she can represent if a woman is pregnant, she'll come up quite often. So there's something to consider. Another thing here, what is her? Oh, yes. That's why, this is funny. They do have it there. That's why we have a bunny in the picture. You getting the idea? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to look. Let me see if they have in the High Priestess. Yes, of course. In the High Priestess, what do they have? A black cat. The black cat, the cat that can see in the dark. Yeah, the cat. Often considered a familiar. Often considered a animal that can walk between dimensions. And let me tell you, that's not far wrong. Really, as a matter of fact, that's not wrong at all. Kitty cats seem to be able to walk between worlds pretty easy, and they seem to know their way. So, what does the Emperor have? Ah, the Emperor is watching two children. I don't see an animal in this. And a chalice. So, they're adding a chalice to the Emperor card. And of course, we will talk a little bit about, I think I'm going to talk just a little bit about the suits. Because we're going to be getting into them pretty soon here. These are what you call the major arcana. You have major arcana and minor arcana. The major arcana, here's the High Priest. I was wondering where he was. Okay, there we go. The High Priest. There he is. These cards are just not in order, that's all. Because we got the Queen of Pentacles right over here, and that's, yeah, strangely, they're not in order. So I have to be aware of that. Okay. So now this is interesting. If you get, a lot of the cards mean almost the opposite of what you would think they would mean. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. But the major arcana are considered to be major things in life, major lessons, major life lessons in progress that are going on. Whereas the rest of the cards, the minor arcana, are considered to be more the day-to-day life things. So when a major arcana comes up, that means, hey, pay attention. This is a lesson for you. This is something special coming to you that you need to pay attention to in a different way than just a day-to-day thing, you know. So one of the things too we've got to mention is the different suites have a different element attached to them or associated with them. And pentacles, or in some decks, it'll be stones or coins. And often the pentacles look like coins. That has to do with earth, solidity, money, finances, and things like that. And, you know, good living on the temporal plane here. And this has beautiful art. It's too bad I can barely see it through the lovely holographic coating on there. And I gotta say, it's beautiful at the same time as it is hard to see. I can't really recommend this without you already getting familiar. I would have to get familiar with these in order to be able to, yeah, do very much with them. But so the Pentacles is earthy stuff associated with money, finance, prosperity, living high, living good, or not. Growing your wealth. This is a guy growing his wealth. See the symbolism here? He is a farmer waiting for his crops to come in. But there are some less happy ones. Now, of course, the king and queen of these suites are always a male and female principle. And you have the, they represent also usually people. And there are signs associated with all of them. So you have a Queen of Pentacles. This would be an earth sign woman. And because she's the queen, she's not a kid. She's an older woman. She is a mature woman. And likewise with the king, he's a mature man. But here's where it gets kind of tricky. Okay, you have the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. So wait a minute, what's going on here? Well, in some decks that are a little bit more patriarchal, you have both of these being males. But in this deck, I think I like this. They have the Page being female and the Knight being male. Because once again, we're talking about people in your life. This is a younger man, this is a younger woman, or sometimes either of these can be a younger man or woman. Though more likely, if it's a younger woman, it'll be a page. And this is more often associated with men. And as you can see, that this is a little bit more balanced than some decks, or at least that's the way I see it. This is more balanced. I like this. So far, I like this deck. Okay, so I gotta say, there are some very positive things to say about it. I think the pictures are beautiful. The artwork really is beautiful. Yeah, the artwork is great. I'm having trouble with the very feature that drew me to it and makes it collectible is it's that gloss on there. It makes it really hard to see them. So then the next suite that they have, we'll just do them in order that they show them here. Oh, by the way, these are also special. Ah, that's right, I have to mention. Knights. When you get a knight card, that can also mean a change that's coming. Because knights frequently bring changes. Okay, so if you get a knight in a reading, change. And this is just some crib notes to help you if you are a book reader, okay, and not a card reader yet, and not a psychic. Psychic card reader is a whole different thing. We'll discuss that maybe a little bit more in another. I might go more in depth in yet another one of these. Hi, Drake. How are you doing? So a night is a change, and it can also even mean a season, a change of season. So just another secondary meaning to that. Whereas the page can also mean a messenger, which has a dual meaning. So this could be a young woman or a messenger. So, and it would be a messenger about money in this case, or prosperity, or crops, or anything having to do with the earthy element. Okay. And the aces are special too. The aces of the elements are, okay, you're beginning this. This is a beginning. Okay. Something is starting. So this could mean, when it comes up, what? What would you think? The start of money issues, good or bad. We'll talk about upside down or right side up at some point, but I don't know. That might be a little confusing right now. For now, we'll talk about the so-called dignified meaning. This is the start of something financial and can mean that you're coming into some kind of money, or there is a money opportunity coming your way. So this same kind of thinking applies to them all. All of these, I'm sorry, I had to catch something before it fell. This applies to each suit. These are the suits of wands. Wands is air, usually associated with air, although sometimes you see it in some decks associated with fire. And these two elements change around, and I'm not exactly sure how Why? But sometimes I see them differently too. Uh, you'll sometimes there was a deck I had, and I can't remember which one it was, where it was wands, but it had a little fire burning to let you know, or this could be fire. People disagree about this. So there we go, adding another level of complication for you. But in general, it usually means air, which is intellectual, learning, education, new things, and springtime. Oh, yeah, I should say the suits are also, oh, make it even a little more complicated, associated with seasons. This would be winter. It's the most solid time of the year. Everything freezes, right? Okay. So this would be spring, which follows. And so you're looking at staves. Yeah. And staves help you. What do? They help you walk or maybe protect you. And this is knowledge. Usually a wise person, they show carrying a staff, right? So here you go. The staves. Once again, you have the older female, the older male, and the knight. And he brings changes regarding the mental realm, learning, education, new things, the air. It could even talk of air travel or something to do with quality of your air. See how elaborate this can get. It's even more than that. I'm only showing you parts of it, and there's the page. Okay, and in this case, the page is a young boy. Maybe, I guess that could be a girl with short hair, but it really looks more like a boy, young boy, which does not surprise me because a lot of decks they are boys. Anyway, so you have various cards talking about a burden on your mind. This guy's got a lot on his shoulders, doesn't he? That's how you'd read it. See? Okay. Now, to me, I look at this and say, she is standing in front of staves, right? That's her knowledge. She has this knowledge behind her. And she's standing upon that. She's standing her ground. She's standing in front of that. She's saying, look, I have all this behind me. I have all this information and knowledge. See? Now that is card reading. That is not, and maybe some psychic reading too, because if I were then to go in and say, oh, well, I see this. This can also be a person in your life. I see this as a person in your life. And she is a very knowledgeable person. And she has all this education and stuff behind her. And so that makes her usually a good ally. And, because that means the cards have started to really speak to me and tell me a story. Okay. So you have a whole bunch of things having to do with that realm. Okay. Then what have you got? Swords. And here's where the two get confused. Is this fire or is it air? See, to some people, the swords are air, right? And the wands are fire. But to some people, the swords are fire. Don't ask me why. I think maybe because fire can hurt and swords cut. I don't know. Or maybe because they are forged. Sometimes I'll see fire, like fire symbols in the sword. I don't know. I can't tell you the origin of that. But if it is, And you may have to decide this for yourself. Or is the swords the air element cutting through? And a lot of times it is. In which case, you're looking at the wands and you're saying, well, then what are the wands? They're not mental anymore. What are they? Fire energy is energy, change, energy, fuel. See, that could be the other meaning of this. But this is where it gets weird. This is always messages coming to you, a bunch of steps coming at you. Sometimes this is arrows, messages. To me, that makes it more of a mental thing. Don't ask me why. This is why you have to kind of let the cards talk to you. It can get kind of confusing. I remember when I first started, I would read one deck and it would tell me one thing, and another deck would tell me another thing, what it meant. And it would be something entirely different. I'd be like, wait a minute, did you guys get together on this or not? What do they really mean? Well, they mean the whole idea is it's symbolism. And there are generally accepted meanings, but it's symbolism. And if you're really good at interpreting dreams, you'll be good at doing cards too. And if you're really good at cards, you'll probably be good at dreams too, because it's symbolism. Okay? So, but perhaps this is, and once again, it would be an older person of an air sign, whereas then this would be an older person of a fire sign. Okay? And you have to kind of, and some people recommend, and I would recommend, if you're reading different decks, say you only have one or two decks, well, then you might want to go by what they say, but whatever you learn first is probably what you're first going to remember. And then you'll have trouble maybe seeing it the other way. There are some people that insist that you need to look at what the deck says it is, first. Other people say, no, you need to take your first impression. I say you kind of got to look at both of them. And if you are getting a strong impression, though, go with that. Always go with that, no matter what the deck says. Okay? Because that is the real reading. That is the real psychic reading, is when you start to get that kind of thing happen. Okay? So once again, the younger people are young, the knight and the page will be the younger people, the signs. In this case, if it is air, it would be the younger air signs. If it would be fire, it would be the younger fire signs. Okay, a younger person of a fire sign variety. Okay, so, and, the sword cards are kind of scary. I have to warn you. Some of them are pretty scary. Can you tell this person's having a nightmare and feels really under it? Yeah. They're not under the gun, they're under the swords. They feel like they're under it. They need to take a break. They're having nightmares. This person feels stabbed in the back. Okay. Kind of obvious, huh? Some of them are that obvious. Some of them less so. You'll see. We'll go on. We'll go on with it. At some point, we'll get a little bit more elaborate about this, but right now, I just want to give you the basics because I don't want to be on forever and ever. I've got some things I need to do. So we'll show you cups, generally. Cups. Cups are water. Nobody disagrees about this. I don't think anybody disagrees about that. Cups are water. So your page and your knight is water signs of a younger age, and the king and queen would then be older water signs. And if you don't know your astrology, this is another thing that figures into this. Numerology and astrology all figure into reading the cards because they have numbers. That's why they have numbers. They also have signs associated with them. So a person who really, really reads the cards will also have some knowledge of astrology and numerology as well. And that helps really decipher what the heck they're trying to tell you. Because sometimes it can be kind of tricky. You will hit a wall and you'll go, okay, wait a minute. Okay, wait. Okay. And you look at the number and you say, oh, it's the number. Or you'll look at a card and you'll say, let's see, let's find one. It's the mountains behind him that really stand out to me. Is this about something that I see as a mountain, as an impediment that I'm going to have to cross, that I'm going to have to climb? Or is this a height I want to reach? Or, something like that. Okay. And then you look and you see it's a 7, and the 7 is an end of one kind of a cycle. So, and we will talk about, see, it gets very elaborate. I'm just trying to give you a quick overview. 5, that's another thing. 5 is almost always changes. So if you get a 5, changes are coming. And, depending on the element, it will have to do with that element. But sometimes then they'll turn around and be quite literal. Sometimes it will literally be, I lost my knife, or something silly like that, or, something weird like that. But now this one, I think it should be pretty obvious. My heart hurts, right? My heart really hurts. But it can also have the meaning of 3 days, 3 months, 3 years, whatever, 3 hours, 3 can have that meaning too. And other meanings as well. See how elaborate this gets. It's pretty elaborate. The insect on there, I'm trying to see up close. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. I'm not sure what that is, really. Not sure what kind of insect is on there. I'm sorry, I haven't. Or is that something? Yeah. Well, it looks like it might be fairies or something. I can't tell. It kind of glares a little too much. And does this woman look like she is having to make a choice? Or she feels like she has to defend herself, even though she can't see what she is defending from? Or does it mean something else to you? Okay, and there's the Ace of Swords, and that is the beginning of this energy. So here we go. Now it's interesting because the Queen of Cups, let's go for that. Here is the King of Cups. He is water. He's an older water man. And what do you see is behind him? It is shell, like a shell. This could also mean Neptune, the planet Neptune, or the deity Neptune. Yes, there you see. And he's got a cup. It's water, it's blood, it's a liquid. Okay, so it will have something to do with that aspect. And water is usually seen as the emotions. Okay, so this is maybe a Pisces man or another water sign, maybe a Cancer man, maybe, it just depends. And here's the woman now here. Look, she's sitting in a shell too. She's sitting on a shelf. It's about water. And the ocean also represents consciousness. Just to add a little bit of extra complexity, the water can also represent consciousness. Interesting, huh? Okay, so, and they have a little girl representing the water, the young water sign. And here is the knight. Yeah, holding his cup, not a sword. See, they have these implements. And this is often a cup card can be seen as an invitation. I'll show you. She almost is like she's offering you some kind of maybe emotional guidance. Oh, I love this card. This is a happy family. Look at all those cups in the sky and a rainbow. They're living the life, aren't they? They're happy. They're living the life. They've got kids playing in the background, a happy home, right? Yes. Mm. And there's so much like that. There's so much like that. Here we go. Now these cups, there's something different in every cup. And there is Merlin. And you're being offered a lot of different cups. But this comes up to mean illusion. Be careful, because some of these things are just illusionary. In fact, they all might be illusionary. All of these. Okay. 9 is also the number of the teacher. So you're being offered stuff. It may be illusionary, but you will learn something from it. And here is, let's see. Oh, this is interesting. The 5 of Cups changes. They have a mermaid. It's really beautiful. Okay, I have to say, these are beautiful. The artwork is really beautiful. Yeah, but it looks like maybe a little fairy there, or no, I think that's a mountain behind her. They have kids. 4 of Cups. And often 4 of Cups is a person who has choices, but they're bored with them. And this is kind of funny because kids this age, how often do you hear those words from them? I'm bored. I'm bored. A lot of times they have a man sitting under a tree looking bored. But I think this is very accurate. Yeah, I like this deck. I think I could read this deck with a little getting used to the shininess of it. I think I could read this deck. I think they are beginning to talk to me. So maybe this was a really good investment after all. Yeah. Wait a minute, I'm looking for a specific one. And this can represent a partnership or even marriage. Doesn't it kind of look like that? Right. And this, the beginning of emotional stuff coming up for good or maybe not, depending on. Okay. Oh, this is a very nice one. The World card is generally shown as a goddess, a woman with stars around her and a wreath, and it means victory. And yet, it's sort of mastery over the world. You get the whole world. Wait a minute. No, that's the star card. Sorry, I misspoke. Oh, this is the world card. Okay, this is the world. And they have a green man. This is great. I had to look. Yes, it's the world. Yes. And they see a young man, and then they see the green man, and then they see the buck. Oh, this is beautiful. Yeah. Wow. And then oh well, karma. Interesting. Interesting. This is karma. Not in a standard deck. Not in a standard deck. This is really cool. They have the card. That's 20. Boy, we could also maybe liken this to years. That would get even more spooky, wouldn't it? And complex. Okay. Let's see. We got to see the shadow side. Yeah, they have inserted some different stuff in here than you usually see in a deck. Very interesting. And I will go through these a little more. That's very interesting. The Temperance card. Yeah, it shows an angel, which is typical, and the she's uh, really pouring water from one place to another. And usually, what was that? Why was that done? It was to make it a moderate temperature, or sometimes it was a blessing. And you have to decide which it is here. Is it trying to moderate things, or is it working some kind of an emotional spell, or is it something else? Here, the death card. Now, I want to tell you about this. Do not freak out if this comes up. The death card is not necessarily, although it can be, not necessarily a physical death. Sometimes it is just a change that is that drastic. Okay? Sometimes it is something passes away, something leaves, and something else is born. Remember, with death, there's always also birth. They are two sides of the same thing. And so when you see a death card in your reading, don't go nuts and think somebody's going to die. However, if there are other cards indicating that in the reading, yes, it may mean that there is a death on the way or has happened. So, just to let you know. And the Hanged Man. Now, you see, he's not hanging by the neck, so he didn't kill himself. No, no. This is somebody waiting for guidance, waiting for help, waiting for guidance, looking for help and guidance. And that is really symbolic of Odin, who hung himself in a tree, staring into the water, waiting to get a certain kind of enlightenment. And that this is supposedly where he saw the runes. And this is how the runes were born. But anyway, so you see the figure, he's hanging by a leg, not his neck. So he's not going to die from it. However, it's very uncomfortable, as waiting for guidance can be. And yet you see he has a halo around him. Okay, it's kind of interesting, right? So, so maybe you turn it over, you see it turned over like that, and you say, wait a minute, maybe the guidance is coming. Maybe that means the guidance is on its way, or it's even here. Maybe it means something else to you. See, I don't know. What does it mean to you? Justice. Well, this one is actually usually just about justice. Mostly just what you would think. Although remember, this is cosmic, more usually cosmic justice. However, if you have legal matters coming, this can come up. Okay? Just to let you know. She shows up. She may be saying, hey, there's a legal matter. Or she may be saying, this is referring to a legal matter, this reading. We're giving you this message on behalf of this legal matter coming into your life. Here we go. The wheel of the year. And the wheel. It's interesting because usually the wheel is karma, but it can also be seasons. And actually, so many things. Time. What direction are you taking? It can be luck. If you're asking, am I going to get lucky with the lottery ticket or something? This could be saying, yeah, you're taking a chance and maybe you are going to get lucky. The Hermit. Well, it's a wise old person, but can also mean spending a lot of time alone or in meditation, or maybe that you need to. Now, strength is almost always shown. Let me see if this is the same. Yes, is a woman gentling a lion. And so it is beauty and gentleness overcoming something that should be strong and scary and etc. But here you see it's pretty much her pet. She's gentled it. So she has, by making friends with it, she has managed somehow to gentle it, or maybe she bewitched it, or maybe something, maybe it means something else. Maybe it's a picture of you and your kitty cat, or at least what your kitty cat thinks they are. Yeah, sometimes I think, Cowboy, when he sits beside me, he's thinking this is what he looks like, what we look like, right? But okay, so this is strength. And strength is not always physical strength. Remember that. There are a lot of kinds of strength. And some of the most important kinds of strength are not necessarily physical. Doesn't look like she beat him up, right? Okay. The Chariot is changes and your direction in life. And usually, and this one, is it? Yes. Usually there's a white horse and a black horse, and that is a need for balance. Because if you don't have a balanced chariot, you're going to get dumped. Okay? So things are changing rapidly. Stuff is coming, events are coming along. You better be balanced or you're going to get dumped. Okay? That's one meaning. But that is, you can kind of see that in the card here. You need to be balanced. You need a black and a white. This is not a racial thing. Okay. So let me see. If you're a troll, you just go away. We're not interested. Go away. Hang on. Let me see now. Block them. Yep. Oh, an error occurred. I can't block them. For some reason, I can't block them. Oh, well, you're going to have to, Pam. Or just put them in a timeout. Actually, I just put them in a timeout. They're probably just bots. Okay, the lovers. Once again, I have to say, this isn't always what it looks like. In fact, the lovers can also be a partnership. Doesn't necessarily have to be a male and female partnership, although it's always shown that way, almost always. Not in every deck, I guess, but in most decks it is. But it can be a lot of other things too, dealing with partnerships. So, but being a major arcana, that means this is going to be a spiritual lesson. This is going to be on a higher plane, different plane than the mundane. So this is not just a mundane thing that it's talking about. Okay, so we're coming up on an hour, and an hour is about all of the battery I have on this phone because we are doing this on a phone. I hope you found this enlightening. I hope you took some info from it. I hope it helps you in your quest to become a reader, and not just a book reader, but a card reader. And we will go into some finer points at another time and in another show. So, have an episode where we go a little bit more into this. But I have a good feeling. It looks like these cards are beginning to talk to me, which makes me happy because I just kind of bought them as I thought I was just going to have them as a collectible. And now they might actually become a tool. This is great. Okay. So this is the ocean of the deep blue. Remember, deep blue is what we do. And I mean, we get a lot more wooey on this show. So this is actually some of the esoteric stuff I'm trying to help you learn, because it's helpful. It can help you a lot to understand some of these concepts, because life is always giving us signals. It's always giving us messages. The universe, God, whatever you believe in, it's always telling us things. We just have to pay attention in order to get the message. So this is the ocean making waves. Time for you to go out and make some waves too. Of course, waves have to do with frequency and vibration, don't they? As well as water. So I would like to say, remember, the truth is where you find it. It can even be right in front of your nose, right in front of your eyes. You just have to know how to look at it. You just have to know how to see it. So often, how many times have things been right in front of your eyes and you couldn't see them? Truth is where you find it, not always where you expect. And don't forget, you are divine. You've always been divine. You will always be divine. And you go on. We all go on. You're more than a body. You are not a spirit in a body. You are a spirit using a body to have experiences. You are a soul, a being using a body to feel and to experience and have viewpoints. Okay? But you are really divine. Have a great night. See you next time.